Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we are back with another episode of Hearthstone, finishing our mini-series of rebuilding our decks after Blackrock Mountain. Hopefully we've gotten more cards and learned a few things. Today we do our Paladin deck over again. Notice that he is also at max level. I did that all in the month of April when Blackrock Mountain was coming out. He started at about 32 and made it all the way to 60 because I was just playing like crazy trying to get gold. Uh, he got even more wins than the mage does by 35. He has, yeah, 35 more wins. He's closer to being gold than the mages just because I had a better deck and more cards. I got to level 60 on the mage very early in my career with Hearthstone. Paladin is what I do now. And so in theory, I'm kind of playing the priest now, and I've already come up to level 40, and I imagine he'll do even better than the Paladin. It'd be really cool if by the time we're on our last character, getting them to max level of 60, that I could get to 500 wins easily, and that would be great. It'd be really cool if I start winning a lot more. But that really doesn't have a lot to do with rebuilding the Paladin deck. Let's hop in here and see what Paladin is all about. Now let's not make the same mistake we did before. Let's include the soulbound cards. It seems like by default, when you go into crafting mode, well, now it's checked, but now it wasn't for a while. So Paladin has a 1 mana, 1 attack, 4 durability weapon, Light Justice. So yeah, there's gonna be some weapon stuff in Paladins. His Avenge: when one minion dies, give a friendly minion +3/+2. Okay. Give a minion +3 attack. Okay, that's kind of like a warrior skill to increase attack. Blessing of Wisdom: choose a minion whenever it attacks, draw a card. I'm not sure I'd ever want that in my deck. Eye for an eye: whenever your hero takes damage, deal that much damage to the enemy hero. Not really that good of a card, really, because that'll just end in a draw. If somebody does 30 damage to you and you do 30 damage back to them, you'll just draw and both lose. Give a minion Divine Shield. Now Divine Shield is pretty unique to Paladin. There are some neutral cards that have Divine Shield, but it's pretty much a Paladin ability. Divine Shield, of course, is you get to take one or any amount of damage once and just be shielded from it. Change a minion's attack to 1. Interesting. I don't know how you'd really use this to great advantage. Just kind of hold on to a card like that till the very end, and you'd always be tempted to play it too early. Noble Sacrifice. I do like Noble Sacrifice. When an enemy attacks, summon a 2/1 defender as the new target. Pretty much just stops somebody from attacking and might even kill a minion in the process. When a minion dies, return it to life with 1 health. I don't think Redemption's really worth it. When your opponent plays a minion, reduce its health to 1. I don't think that's really worth it. There's a lot of secrets here that just reduce health, restore health to 1. Change all health of all minions to 1. Equality might be worth it, because if you're just looking at a bunch of minions that you can't possibly defeat, and you have a bunch of weaker minions but the same number, well, then you change everybody's health to 1 and then you could clear the board. But it's a very strange way they cleared the board. Holy Light, restore 6 health. I wouldn't pick this over the Antique Healbot because I think the Antique Healbot is only 3 mana. So I think Antique Healbot pretty much makes that worthless as a card. Gold version or otherwise. Seal of Light, restore 4 health and gain 2 attack this turn. Okay. That's one way to give attack to your hero. I probably wouldn't play it. Give a friendly minion Divine Shield. Now there is a Divine Shield strategy that you can play, but it pretty much centers around having one very specific card I don't have. Divine Shield with a mech, Okay, they make sense. I like it just because it's 2 mana for 2 attack and 2 health with Divine Shield. So the shielded mini bot is one I do like, just for that reason. Cogmaster, give a random friendly minion shield and taunt. Cool. Whenever you summon a minion, give it +1/+1 and lose 1 durability. This one's pretty good. The Sword of Justice. If that visual glitch would ever get fixed, I would be glad of it. But maybe it's my video card. We will find out about that pretty soon. I'm just about ready to put my new computer together. Maybe in a week or so. I'm waiting on the processor. The most important piece, but you pretty much need them all. This is pretty cool because you could summon 5 1/1 things and make them 2/2 things, or whatever, something similar to that. Draw cards until you have as many in your hand as your opponent. Now, for 3 mana, that means if you played all your cards and played this, you could potentially, in one very scenario, draw 10 cards, which would be the biggest draw you probably could ever do. But I don't really see it. I don't think that any card in your deck that says draw more cards is a hard sell for me, because it says you didn't have a better card to have in your deck for that one card of the 30 that you're allowed to have. You didn't have anything better, so you just put draw your cards. Early in your career, sure, draw more cards to get to your good ones, but once you start having good cards, take those cards out. You don't need to draw more cards. You need to have the card that you draw be more valuable than that. Change an enemy minion to attack to 1. Deal 2 damage to all minions with Death Rattle, which is weird. Okay. True Silver Champion. I'd like it. It's 2 uses, does 4 damage, restores 2 health every time you attack. Blessing of the Kings, give +4/+4 for 4, which is a pretty good card. Do 2 damage to all enemies, pretty good. Deal 3 damage, draw a card. I don't think that's really worth it for 4 mana. Double a minion's attack. Now you could try here to increase a character's attack a lot with this, but that's 5 mana to do this, so you would have to be on your 10th turn to double a minion's attack twice, versus the card that doubles a minion's health for the priest is only 2 mana. So the strategy would be a lot more expensive to do it here, to just say, okay, I've got this one up to 10, let's double it to 20, then let's double it again to 40 and win the game on 1 attack. That's not gonna happen, because that would have to be your 10th turn, and you would have had to play probably 3 to 4 more cards to get any creature up to even 10 to start off with. Holy Wrath, draw a card and deal damage equal to its cost. Too random, far too random. And even here it says, come on Molten Giant, because the Molten Giant costs 20, like 20, well, we'll look at it. I think it costs like 20 mana to start off with, so if you did draw Molten Giant, it would for 5 mana do 20 damage, but if you for 5 mana drew a 1 mana card, then you would have only done 1 damage, so it's pretty useless. A Solemn Vigil, draw 2 cards, cost 1 less for each minion that's died. You might consider this, because if 2 or 3 characters have died, then this would be a 2 mana or a 3 mana card to draw 2 cards, and that's a pretty good deal. Whenever a friendly minion dies, while this is in your hand, gain +1 attack. Now this is new, and if I had this, I might have this in my deck. Say you summoned this, you drew this at the very beginning. It's just in your hand for 10 turns while all your other guys die. It's getting powered up, and your opponent doesn't know anything about it. It's pretty cheatery too. I mean, this is one of those cards where you couldn't really play this in the real world as it's written, because somebody could say they drew it their first turn and say that they've been counting, and who knows if your opponent's been counting, because they probably haven't, and all of that. So you would have to reveal, in the real world, you'd have to show a card like this to your opponent, and then say, I have this card right now, from this point further, it's going to gain +1 attack, which kind of destroys the whole surprise of it. That's the beauty of playing Hearthstone only online, and it's probably never going to become a real world thing, is they could put things on here that just wouldn't work because people can lie in the real world, and you can't really lie to a computer. Well, you can try, but it'll catch you. Whenever you summon a mech, this one gains a Divine Shield, which is it's a little too expensive for that though. 5 mana for 6 attack, but only 3 health. A little too expensive. The next dragon you play costs 2 less. Now you could do a dragons deck, but there's not enough dragons yet. I mean, there just isn't. That's the only dragon I think in this whole thing, as far as the Paladin. Let's see. Do we see any other dragons in this Paladin set? So it wouldn't make a lot of sense to play this yet. It will at some point in the future make sense. Now the Quartermaster is kind of cool because for 5 mana it gives all your Silver Hand recruits +2/+2, so they become 3/3s instead of 1/1s. But for 5 mana to only have 2 attack and 5 health, it's not great unless you can get a bunch of Silver Hand recruits. And I think there is a card somewhere that does summon a bunch of Silver Hand recruits, but I don't see it, so I don't know where it was. Avenging Wrath, deal 8 damage, randomly split amongst all enemies. This might be worth it for 6 mana if I had it, but you're not going to get any spell damage plus ups really in a Paladin deck unless you make a really weird one, so that'd be a little weird. Restore 6 health with your hero. Okay, so for 7 mana you get a 5/6 and you restore 6 health, versus the Anti-Keelbot, which I think is 3 mana for a 3/3 and restores 8 health. I think I take Anti-Keelbot still. Laying of Hands, restore 8 health, draw 3 cards. For 8 mana it's really expensive. That's a very late game concept, and if you're going to be playing late game concepts, you don't want to be drawing cards because you'll probably be out of cards. And then Divine Shield, Taunt, and a Death Rattle that gives you a weapon for a 8 mana card that is a 6/6. So 6 attack, 6 health, and 8 mana if I can get it to show up. Okay, that is an 8. Just pretend like you can read that and that says 8. I can read it here and it says 8. So a lot of kind of randomness in this deck. There's some stuff that reduces health, some stuff that heals the hero, some stuff that increases attack, some that reduces attack. So it's kind of all over the board with the Paladin. The Divine Shield is about the most unique thing that you could do, and that's probably the deck you'd want. Divine Shield would work with increasing attack, I suppose. So you have a Divine Shield, 1 mana, Argent Squire. Give your minion +2 attack if you're going to go that way. You probably always have a mech deck and just put a bunch of that. You could probably increase the health. Maybe. I don't think there are any Paladin cards that increase health, just ones that reduce the health. Dragon Egg, maybe. I think there might be a dragon deck pretty soon coming out. So if you were going to try a dragon deck, go with the Paladin and the Dragon Egg and Paladin. Yeah. You could, let's see, Elven Archer. If you reduce health to 1 and then you do 1 damage, that makes kind of sense. You could do a Murlocs deck, sure. Murloc deck worked really well with the Paladin for me, so that's no argument there. Hungry Crab works good with the Murlocs deck if you have it. Maybe a Light Warden would work because you might be healing every now and then on the Paladin, but not as well as it would work with a Priest. I wouldn't do a Pirate's deck because you're not going to have weapons that much, and you can't really power up your weapons. Didn't really see many secrets, so maybe you could do Secret Keeper, but I wouldn't heavily focus on that. No real reason to play Zombie Chow because that's, I mean, if you've got nothing better, it works, but otherwise, no. Always consider the Annoyatron. Let's see. Charged creatures really don't work that well. Swap the attack and health of a minion. Maybe that would work with the Crazed Alchemist. Maybe a little bit. Let's see. Explosive things would help. If you're gonna have a heavy Divine Shield deck, getting things that will deal damage to all minions kinda makes sense because of that. You could also have things like the Haunted Creeper that summons 2 1/1 spiders when it dies. So if you randomly accidentally killed your own guy, you would get 2 1/1s versus 1 1/2, which is actually better. Always consider the Owl. Knife Juggler probably work pretty good on a Paladin deck because your hero ability is to summon a creature, so if you had 2 Knife Jugglers and every turn you summoned that 1/1 Silver Hand Recruit, well, that would do 2 damage. And you might also consider the Mad Bomber and the Matter Bomber and the Bomb Lobber even, although the Bomb Lobber does something different. Mana Wraith, maybe. It's always a consideration. At the end of your turn, give another random friendly minion +1 attack. Master Swordsmith seems like it would be a pretty good Paladin card to have in your deck since you're manipulating attack, and if you had this guy out since your 2nd turn and he waited till the 5th turn, that would be 3 turns, which it would be increasing some other guy's attack that you could then on the 5th turn double with the card that doubled the attack. You might consider Neveron Egg. Let's see. If you've got nothing better. A lot of these early cards, it's always if you have nothing better, it's pretty much always the thing. Same reason, get the Unstable Gold, deal 1 damage. Anything with Divine Shield won't die, even if it has 1 health, as long as they use the Divine Shield or something like that. Alumma Bot's always weird. I don't like it. I don't think it's worth having in your deck, but if you've got nothing better, like I said. Big Game Hunter, I probably wouldn't use that. Demolisher, maybe. I'm not gonna say the phrase again. I almost said it again, but then No Morgan Infantry, however you would pronounce that. Charge and Taunt, 3 mana, 1/4. It's a consideration. Here's one where the attack goes up when the opponent has 6 or more cards in their hand. You might try that, but it's pretty random. Hobgoblin would work good in like a Murloc deck. Imp Master, probably not. A lot of these don't really seem to focus too much around what the Paladin's all about, because the Paladin's really not about much. The Shattered Sun Clerk, almost anything that has an art style like this, where there's an armored, like human-looking creature, is probably something you are thinking about would be a Paladin class card that they're thinking about should be on there. But much like most games, it seems like the humans people have no real focus as far as their abilities, whereas the orcs are pretty focused on what they do. I might have the raid leader. If you're going to be manipulating attack, why not have the creatures that increase attack? You might try the Tauren Warrior. Get enraged, get some more attacks. keep moving, keep moving. Always consider Defender of Argus. I like it, and it would work with Paladin because it gives a +1/+1. Here's a battle cry, give a minion +2 attack this turn. You'd have to play so many cards though that double the attack to get it high enough. Let's see. Here's one you definitely probably want in your Paladin deck. It gives your other minions Wind Fury, Taunt, and Divine Shield. And it seems like with the Enhanso Mechano, that would work really good on the Paladin because Paladin's gonna try to have lots of people on deck at all time. It's 4 mana for a 3/2. It's pretty good. Jeeves, always a consideration, but I probably wouldn't use it. Let's see. You might try something like Piloted Shredder here, just as a way of, for 4 mana you get a 4/3, and then if it dies you get a random 2-cost minion. It's pretty random, but at least it gives you something after that one dies. This Divine Shield thing works. Now, if you're going to play the Divine Shield deck and you have this specific card that works with Divine Shield, and when we get to it I'll show you, it makes sense. Anti-Healbot is 5 for a 3/3. I still think it's probably better than the 7 for a 5/7, I think was the other Paladin thing, but maybe not. You'd have to think about that. Dragon decks, possibility. It's getting closer and closer to the point where a dragon deck would work, and I would definitely try that dragon deck on the Paladin. Me in particular, since the Paladin's already at max level. Start getting some of these legendary things that don't really work for everything. Now, the Frostwolf Warlord probably is going to be best used with the Paladin because you're more than likely going to have the most amount of characters summoned with the Paladin, but it still has fallen out of favor. It doesn't work enough to my taste. Grim Patron, it doesn't work enough to my taste, like I just said, but I mean, I kind of like the concept, it's just not enough health, and Paladin doesn't really pump up health. Berserker, yeah, the Berserker makes some sense in an early Paladin deck, because that's how you're going to gain the most amount of attack, is just if you can get this thing to take 6 damage, 6 times 3 is 18, so it could be a 21 if you can get it to take 6 individual pieces of damage, and then if you can heal it and get it even higher, that's fine, but at 21, double that to 41, you could do that potentially on the 10th turn, but it'd probably be the 11th or 12th. Let's see. Destroy a beast. When a friendly mech dies, gain +2/+2. Leroy Jenkins. Matter Bomber. The Minron's Head. Legendary cards that don't really work with the Paladin. This one kind of works because you want to, with the Paladin, try and have as many guys on board, on deck as fast as possible. So for 5 mana for a 4/4, then it gives you a 2/2. That's pretty good value. Let's see. Fugan, Stalag, always considerations, but not really going to work with any deck. Let's see. Here's your charge, Divine Shield for 6. Not really worth it, I don't think. I don't think for a 6 mana 4/2 it's worth it, just because it has charge and Divine Shield, but you might just have it in your deck if you have nothing better. Emperor Thracian, now that's an interesting thought. You very well could make an argument that this would help your deck a lot, make things cheaper, if you can get it and play it. Interest. That's something I'll have to think about. Normally I just pass by Emperor Therizian because it's not usually worth it. It gets killed too fast. Makes things 1 mana cheaper. Well, 1 turn makes everything 1 more mana play. Here's one you definitely would want in your Paladin deck, the Sunwalker. A 4/5 for 6 mana, and it has Taunt and Divine Shield. Definitely would want that. Let's see, what else? Things like the Baron Geddon might work. At the end of your turn, deal 2 damage to all other characters. Well, if all your other characters have Divine Shield, that would save them 1 turn, so that's a consideration. Dr. Boom, he probably works as well in the Paladin deck as he would in the other. And then your Stormwind Champion would make sense if you're playing the attack deck, where you're just trying to increase the attack. Let's see, move on. Here's your highest Divine Shield creature. I believe for 8 mana you have a Divine Shield 7/7. So you're doing all of this stuff to get Divine Shields, which protects them from 1 attack, and then they have to do some other things. Then they're vulnerable after the first attack. Gruul would make sense here. At the end of your turn, gain +1/+1. If you got this out on the 8th turn, on the 9th turn it would be an 8/8. You could play the double the attack, and then it would be a 16/8, which is pretty good. Kel'Thuzul I think works pretty well in the Paladin's deck because it will bring back all those silver hand recruits that die, so you can just let them attack minions and die even because they're 1/1s, and then they will come back at the end of the turn because of Kel'Thuzul. No spell damage really, doesn't make any sense. This one, the Meginger Thermoplague, makes some sense because whenever an enemy dies, summon a leopard gnome. It very well could be that you end up killing a lot of minions and playing board control with the Paladin. Nefarian's too random. Nosdormo is not useful in my opinion. What's this one called? Onyxia. Summon 1/1 whelps until your battle size is full. You might have that in the Paladin deck. Yosek always kind of makes sense. Deathwing makes no sense. Sea Giant. Let's see. Molten Giant. So Molten Giant's the most expensive at 20 for that Paladin thing. Now where was that card? Let's see. Paladin deck. The card I am looking for. Here's one we missed. Muster for battle. Summon 3 1/1 Silverhand recruits and equip a 1/4 weapon. That's pretty overpowered for 3. Every time I see that I say it's overpowered. But whenever a friendly minion dies, gain +1 attack. Where is that card? Is it not a Paladin card? Well, I am going to have to find it. I will type in the word shield. Let's see. Here we are. Blood Knight. Blood Knight is 3 mana, 3 attack, 3 health. And let's come on. It has a battle cry. All minions lose Divine Shield and gain +3/+3 for each shield lost. So in theory you could have 6 creatures with Divine Shield on your deck. For 3 mana summon this. 6 times 3 would be 18/18. So you're talking a 21/21 creature for 3 mana because of the Blood Knight. You would definitely want the Blood Knight, 2 of them in your decks if you were going to play a Divine Shield. And that's about the only thing that the Divine Shield really synergizes with. I mean, it really goes to show that that the Paladins are just a little random. It's just a little random and not that focused. Anyways, let's go ahead and show you the deck I decided to get with our custom Paladin. Say bye-bye to the old one and hello to the new one. Let's see. So we gotta get rid of the search thing. Click the little X and we'll choose. I chose Avenge. I like that. Took 2 of those. Blessings of Mights, 2 of that. So I guess I'm playing the attack thought. Noble Sacrifice here. I like that. Then I went some crazy directions, it looks like. I went with Cogmaster, and then Zombie Chow. Where are you, Zombie Chow? And then, let's see. I got Seal of Light. Let's see here. Restore 4 health and gain 2 attack this turn. This one in particular, it feels like I just picked some random stuff. I think I kind of focused on a mech deck, but not that much. So I took some Annoyatron. I only took 1 Annoyatron though. And then I took the Owl. Which, okay, it makes sense to take the Owl. Here it is. Then Shielded Minibot makes some sense. I like that. It's a Paladin only card, so it's you get a slight advantage there. But I only took 1. And then I chose Questing Adventurer. So I'm really experimenting here. Where's Questing Adventurer? These are the Q's, so it will be further. Here. Came back here and took my favorite weapon, True Silver Champion. Definitely gonna have that in my deck. Blessing of Kings. Definitely like that. Just trying to power up attacks. Hammer of Wrath, I actually chose that. I'm really experimenting. And then we went to Defender of Argus. Let's see. Come on, Defender of Argus. Here we are. And then, oh, I chose this. This makes sense now. If we can increase the attack on the Dragon Skin Sorcerer, that would make sense. And then I chose Blessed Champion. Let's see, double minions attack, that makes sense. And then Guardian of Kings. Restore 6 health to your hero. I guess that's a better deal. Maybe. It seems very balanced. And then I chose probably one of the weirdest choices ever. And I'm probably just doing it to experiment a little bit. Because, again, I'm not that interested in the Paladin deck. It just needs to win games. And it's a good deck for me since I'm already at max level to learn off of. So what did I miss? I missed something because that says that's my entire deck. Come on, what am I missing? Consecration is what I missed. So I chose 2 consecrations. Let's see. Deal 2 damage to all enemies. Oh, that makes sense. At least have 1 card that does some major damage to everybody. So yeah, that's a real experimental deck I built, but that's what I'm gonna go with, and let's try it. Let's see, give it a couple games and see if that works. And then we are done with our mini-series. We'll get back to my regularly recorded episodes of Hearthstone, and I can get back to recording other games now that Blackrock Mountain is off. The Hearthstone deck tracker starting next episode will be enabled for what it's worth, When I do arena runs, it won't show. When I do custom deck runs, it will, because it takes too much time on the arena runs to sit there and mess with the software and put the cards that the arena gave me in. Maybe it won't take too much time. Maybe I'll change my mind on that, but at the moment, for this next arena run, which will be next episode, I'm not going to try it. Well, I might try it. I don't know. I'm conflicted, but we're gonna be done with Blackrock Mountain. Now, one of the things I might consider doing is we might consider going back and doing Nixramas, trying it maybe on Heroic. Maybe I'll play that offline and record or something like that. I don't know. So, 2 secrets here. This will be interesting. So, if he attacks my guy, I definitely don't need 2 Guardian of Kings here. But anyways, what I was saying about the Hearthstone deck trackers, right here will be the decks on ranked games at least. Maybe even on arena games if I decide to spend the extra effort to do it. So, Sword of Justice. Interesting. So I can summon this guy, summon this guy.
Reporting for duty.
Already we're getting a pretty big amount of creatures compared to him because he's just not doing too well.
Powering up! Portals online!
So that's one durability.
Shields up! Red alert!
That's another durability. Paladin versus Paladin. It seems sometimes like the ranking system does kind of match up the same type of characters if they can. So this is an interesting thing. I would have the Sword of Justice, but I don't believe I have it. I just don't think I have it. Man, those are some really late game cards I'm drawing.
Reporting for duty. To battle!
Keep smashing the face, keep smashing the face. Remember, these guys have, between the 2 of them, that's 10, so he'll get back to 26 if he kills these 2. And since he has Divine Shield, he could just kill either one of these without doing any damage, and he'd probably kill this one. That would make more sense. And this one could kill this one without dying.
I wonder.
Am I even gonna make it to the 7th turn to play the Guardians of Kings? This is not the kind of draws you want. This is why I tend to stay away from these really late game cards. If there is one card that gives you like 5 mana extra, it is just one card in the game, and I don't believe it exists. There are cards that give you like 1 more mana, but none that give you a ton of it. Alright, so we have a shielded mini-bot, we have this guy.
Reporting for duty.
Just continue smashing the face.
Job's done.
18 to 30, but that doesn't guarantee a victory. We still need 2 more turns before we can play the Guardian of Kings, 4 more turns before we can play Yarsa, and we'd have to end our turn before we even get a trend card. There goes our Divine Shield because of the Knife Juggler. That's why I think the Knife Juggler is a definite consideration for Paladin. It's just gonna summon all these guys. Now if I had Consecration, if I draw that, maybe I could do some major damage to getting rid of a bunch of these guys. Yeah, Consecration would get everybody but these 2. But I don't have it, so I play Blessing and Kings and get this guy to a 5/5, which isn't really going to help that much. still very much getting overpowered. Seems like he mostly more focused on a mech deck here, which might be the right way to do the Paladin. I mean, if you look here, only his Silverhand Recruit summoned by this and his Knife Juggler here are not mech related. So I'll probably come back and do a mech deck as I get more mech in. Spectral Knight, interesting thought. I don't know why you'd specifically have Spectral Knight though. It's not that great of an attack for 5 mana. Alright, here we go. So I play Consecration, and because I play that, I can't summon the Guardian of Kings. So they can do 10 damage to my face right now. If he just figures out a way to do 4 more, he's gonna win. And there's the Annoyatron. And the muster for battle. It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. So another Consecration would probably save me. Alright, if I play this, I gotta play this. So that gets me to 10, but there's 10 right here. There's no reason why he shouldn't win this turn. Here's a card here from his very first hand, from the first draw. As part of the Hearthstone deck tracker tells me what cards in his hand are from what turn. And so there's a card here he has not played since the very beginning according to the deck tracker. Which maybe that's accurate or maybe not. It's not giving me any information I couldn't figure out if I were a genius and paying a lot of attention, but it is giving me the advantage of not having to be a genius who pays a lot of attention by telling me and showing me, yeah, this card has been like around for a long time and he hasn't played it. So it's a pretty useless card. We're on that 9th turn now. Let's see. So Dragonkin Sorcerer totally would have made sense to do that a long time ago, but it doesn't make a lot of sense to do it now. Let's see. I'm just gonna end my turn. That's about all I can do. He played Kel'Thuzul. Definitely think that's a good move, because he can just kill all his guys. Like, kill this one and kill that one. There is a bit of yeah, that's a great card to have in your deck. Look at all these things that have Wind Fury now, and Divine Shield on Kel'Thuzul, and Taunt. What did he give? I don't know what he gave the Annoyatron, because there's no way to tell. He gave him something he already had. But that, I mean, the options were give it Wind Fury, Taunt, or Divine Shield. This guy has Taunt and Divine Shield already.
Justice demands retribution.
Is he gonna attack my face, or is he just gonna string us along? Nope, he's not gonna string us along. Yeah, so the Paladin deck needs work, but I'm not gonna focus too much on it because it's level 60 and I have better things to spend my time on. And I really don't have just a ton of other cards that scream out should be in the Paladin deck. Maybe I should go back and put some more mechs into it instead. Try that. Get rid of Ursa, get rid of Guardians of Kings, because neither one of those helped us any. Anyways, that's the end of this mini-series. I want to thank you for sticking through it, and we'll be back to regularly scheduled programming next episode, which is great news because we're going to be doing an arena run, which we haven't done for nearly 2 months because we were saving up gold for Blackrock Mountain. Now, we don't have quite as much gold as I would like, but I'm going to go ahead and start getting back on arena runs because I want to, and it will spice up episodes. Ideally, I want to be at, what was I saying, 4,600 gold. I want to have 3,500 gold for the next a solo adventure. Since Blackrock Mountain was announced and then a month later it was released. So I want to have that gold ready to go so I don't have to spend the entire month playing Hearthstone. And then I want 1,000 extra gold just in reserve, and then once I get to the 100 on top of the 1,000, so from 4,500 to 4,600, then I will have enough gold at that point where I feel like I can play an arena run and buy packs. So we're going to at that point start trying to really open packs. We will be opening a pack. Let's just open a pack right now. Why not? Even though we rebuilt decks and we should have opened the pack before, in celebration of the ending of this mini-series, let's open this pack. Alright, so no good card there. So I got 2 blues and 2 normal ones. So Mad Bomber, Eye for an Eye, and Wisps. I think I have 2 of all of these cards. So that'll all just get turned to dust. Ancient Watcher, probably have 2 of that. Ancient Mage, I don't think I have any of that, so I think we got a new card. Let's go in the deck and see. So when we go to crafting mode, you see this little thing. Here it says disenchant the extra card. I have 4 cards extra, so I'll just disenchant them to get a mighty 40 dust, which is a ridiculously low amount of dust, because you need 100 to do anything. And then we got 1 new card, which is nice. Now I highly recommend everybody, as they start to be on top of these things, it was Ancient Mage like I thought. I didn't think we had that. I might put that in my mage deck. It's a pretty good card. Come in here, and once you get new cards, some of them are soul bound, so you won't see them in crafting mode unless you include the soul bound cards. And again, you have to check that every time, so I probably messed up a lot of these episodes. Soulbound meaning you can't disenchant them for dust. It's a shame. You should be able to at some point, once you have like all gold, disenchant the originals or be rewarded for having all gold once you max level. But it doesn't seem like that happens. But also you want to go over here and highlight the new cards. That way you don't end up with like 10 new cards, 10 here, 10 here, 10 here, because you don't go in the collection enough. So keep it managed so you know when you get a new card where it is and and look at it and see what it does. Anyways, that's the end of this mini-series. Again, thank you for sitting through it. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment if you want to, and watch every second of my videos. All of that helps me out with YouTube. There are 2 other ways you can support me. One is clicking on my name, Rydo. On the right will be a blue button that says support this channel. The other way is clicking on the Amazon.com affiliate link down below and shopping normally. If you want to follow me or friend me on any social media, including Steam or Battle.net, all that information is also down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.